I think a lot of people get misconstrued, and I think people are a little upset with, is this is a new media. I think the traditional sense of with the word media is now gone. So I think a lot of people are having a problem with this is the wild, wild west. This is a new media. This is a new concept. And so now it's a little scary out here. People are controlling their own narratives. So when people say, oh, Shedeur is this, people got internet videos ready to go on dial. Like, no, before you could say something and it wouldn't be true, and it could just live out there in the ether until somebody proved it wrong. Nowadays, it's instantaneous checks and balances. People are like, oh, you say that? Like, one of the most laughable ones was Shedeur Sanders rides in a separate bus in his way to his teammates didn't like he rides in a separate bus at Colorado. And somebody was like, that's false. That's totally not true. Or when they say Shedeur Sanders needs to be in the front of the room and they had pictures immediately in all meeting rooms with him sitting right in front. I said, these guys is good. I believe Shedeur Sanders can play. I believe Shedeur Sanders can be a franchise quarterback. I believe Shedeur Sanders has a lot of improvement to do, but he also has a lot of things that I'm intrigued by and I feel can be something in this football league that the Browns can build around. I also believe the Cleveland Browns need to do a good job of getting some pieces and parts around him and doing exactly what Andrew Berry said they were going to do and making sure that this offense works and getting a good look at him by having pieces and parts around him. Stop asking me about Kyler Murray, Malik Willis, Marcus Mariota, Kirk Cousins, Anthony Richardson. This is not musical chair, pick a quarterback, then compare week. I'm telling you what I think. Stop asking me about it. Stop telling me about it. Stop questioning. Stop insinuating. The reality of the situation, there is nothing you're going to say to me based on my work that I've done in watching film, based on my opportunity to see somebody play, based on what my football IQ and acumen says and my experience level, I believe he can play.
Yeah, man. Look, these dudes get exposed all the time. So now we all, it's about, oh, it's Chase Daniels or it's Kurt Warner who had good things to say about Shedeur. Are they in the locker room? Okay, they're not in the locker room, but Denzel Ward's in the locker room. He had nothing but good things to say. Quinshon Judkins is in the locker room. He has gone on camera and said Shedeur's the guy. He got that confidence, that swagger. He got it. Miles Garrett has gone on and said it. Malachi, like, come on, man. Like, stop it, man. Stop it. Let's go. GBush, it's your turn to cook up.
Let me ask you something real quick. What does a young black quarterback have to do? What does he literally have to do to get a fair shot in this league? Because Shedeur Sanders has film. He has receipts. He has teammates, current teammates in that locker room standing up and saying, this is the guy. Myles Garrett said it. Denzel Ward said it. Quinn Ewers, the man they brought in to compete with him, said it. These aren't random people on the internet. These are men inside that building, inside those meetings, watching him every single day. And still, the media wants to act like Shedeur Sanders can't read a defense, like he doesn't belong, like everything about him is a question mark. But today, the script flipped, and a man named GBush stepped into the room and said what every honest fan in America has been thinking. Welcome back. Let's get into it.
And sometimes people can tell you something and it not be correct. See, a lot of people said in the beginning that Dylan Gabriel was way more advanced and he was the guy and he was doing this. Now, all of a sudden, I think it's funny that people now, there's articles. Mary Kay came out and said Dylan Gabriel is not in contention to be the starting quarterback. Now, the problem is when you build somebody up to be that and then you see it and then you discard it, it's like, oh, let's forget about that. We talked about Kenny Pickett. We talked about what he was and how he was ready to go. And then we saw him.
Here's what nobody wants to say out loud, but GBush said it anyway. There are two kinds of quarterbacks in this league, the ones the media builds up and the ones the media tears down. And the crazy part, it doesn't always have to do with talent. You remember Dylan Gabriel? At the start of this season, certain media personalities were out here calling this man a supercomputer. Mary Kay literally called him that, a supercomputer. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders, who had real film, real coaching pedigree, and real teammates backing him, was getting picked apart word by word. And then what happened? Mary Kay came back out and said Dylan Gabriel is not in contention to be the starting quarterback. So where's the accountability? Where's the correction? Where's the, hey, we got that one wrong? It doesn't come. It never comes. They just move on to the next narrative, and that's exactly what GBush called out. He said that there's a definitive nature to how people talk about Shedeur, like it's a foregone conclusion, like he's already been tried, convicted, and sentenced before he ever takes a snap in a regular season game. And that's not analysis, that's a bias. Now let's talk about what actually happened on the King Carmen show, because this was must-watch television. GBush comes in calm, he comes in collected, but he comes in with facts. He brought up Rex Ryan. Remember that? Rex Ryan went on national TV and said Shedeur Sanders was sitting in the back of team meetings, not paying attention, not locked in. He said it with confidence, like he had insider information.
He's here might not
what I'm saying. What I'm saying is,
and that's a fact. That could happen.
What I'm saying is, there's two sides of a coin. You can hear things. He said on this.
This is no different than, y'all remember when Rex Ryan was saying, Rex Ryan went on national TV talking about, oh, Shedeur Sanders, you need to sit in the front of the meetings and you need to. And then the footage came out. Shedeur been sitting in the front of the meetings. Rex Ryan on TV talking about he heard he's sitting in the back. And it's actual footage of him sitting in front of all the team meetings every single time.
Except there was footage. Actual, real, verifiable footage of Shedeur sitting in the front of every single team meeting. Not the back, the front. Every time. And Rex Ryan never corrected it. He just moved on. GBush used that as his foundation. He said, look, I'm not saying Jason Lloyd is making things up, but I am saying that sometimes what you hear from sources inside the building might not be the full picture, might not be gospel. And when Adam the Bull tried to interrupt him, tried to cut him off after just 36 seconds of speaking, GBush clapped back immediately. He said Tyus spoke for 3-4 minutes and nobody interrupted. I spoke 36 seconds and you stopped me. I'm confused. That right there, that's not just a great point, that is the double standard, playing out in real time on live radio. You give certain voices unlimited time, and you give others a countdown clock. Let me give you the receipts on this one, because GBush kept it absolutely real about something that a lot of people need to hear. For the past 6 months, we have been watching the Cleveland Browns media cycle through quarterbacks like a revolving door. Kyler Murray, Anthony Richardson, Malik Willis, Dante Moore, Gino Smith. Yes, somebody actually said Gino Smith. We got to the point where Gino Smith was a legitimate discussion, and GBush stood tall through all of it. Every single name that got floated, he said, no, not that one either. And he was right. Every single time. Now think about that. This man called it correctly over and over again, while the same media personalities who dismissed Shedeur were busy hyping up quarterbacks who never even made it to the conversation. He said it himself. You can point to that camera and say GBush didn't lie to you. Every quarterback you mentioned, they're not here. That's not bragging. That's a track record. That's credibility. And credibility matters, especially when you're talking about a young man's future. Here's the part that gets me every single time I think about it.
So I'm getting to that point right there.
You better hurry up.
There are other people online. Whenever they say,
You see what he tried to say is Chase Daniels in the locker room. No, Chase Daniels isn't in the locker room, but you know who is? Myles Garrett, who said Shedeur Sanders is the guy. Denzel Ward, who said Shedeur Sanders is the guy. There are plenty of people who are in the locker room who have said Shedeur Sanders is the guy. It don't look, man, these dudes make all the reasons and all the excuses in the world.
During this same conversation, Jason Lloyd tried to dismiss the opinion of Chase Daniel and Kurt Warner by asking one question. Is Chase Daniel in the Browns locker room? Okay, fair enough. Let's play that game. Myles Garrett is in the locker room. He said Shedeur is the guy. Denzel Ward is in the locker room. He said Shedeur is the guy. Quinn Ewers is in the locker room. He said Shedeur is the guy. So when you ask who's in the locker room already answered. The locker room already gave you their verdict. The people who practice with him, who watch him in film sessions, who compete against him in drills every single day, they believe in Shedeur Sanders. And yet, the narrative persists. The doubt continues. The question marks remain. Why? That's the question GBush was really asking. And that's the question the fans on that show were really asking. And honestly, it's the question a lot of us have been asking for a long time now. I want to be careful here. I want to be measured, but I also want to be honest. One of the fans on the King Carmen show said something that a lot of people are thinking, that some of this criticism might have roots in something deeper than football analysis. He didn't go all the way there. He said, I'm not saying I believe that, but a lot of people think that. And then he said, I think y'all just some flat-out haters. And here's what I know for certain. Regardless of where you stand on the deeper question, the standard is not being applied equally. That part is not debatable. You cannot call Dylan Gabriel a supercomputer and then turn around and act like Shedeur Sanders can't read a defense. Not with a straight face, not with intellectual honesty. GBush made that point beautifully. He said the problem isn't that people have opinions. The problem is the absolute nature of those opinions. There's a difference between saying I have concerns and saying he absolutely cannot do this. He cannot do that. He's not an NFL quarterback, especially off a 6-game sample size. 6 games, and people are ready to write the man's entire career off. That's not analysis. That's a conclusion looking for evidence. Here's where I land on all of this. Shedeur Sanders has not asked for a handout. He has not asked for anyone to lower the bar. He has not asked for sympathy or special treatment. All he has asked for, all his teammates have asked for on his behalf, is a fair evaluation, a real one, based on what's actually on the film. And GBush showed up today and demanded exactly that. He didn't scream, he didn't go viral for the wrong reasons. He came with logic, with history, with receipts, and he made grown men on live radio run out of answers. When Jason Lloyd couldn't answer the fans' question about why anonymous sources matter more than on-camera statements from actual Browns players, he went quiet. And that silence said everything. The Cleveland Browns have passed on Kyler Murray. They passed on Anthony Richardson. They moved on from Malik Willis, Gino Smith, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, and every other name thrown at the wall. If they end this process without drafting a quarterback, you already know what that means. It means what GBush has been saying all along. They believe in Shedeur Sanders. They believe he gives them the best chance to win. And if that day comes when Shedeur Sanders is officially the guy in Cleveland, I want everyone to remember this moment. Remember the narratives. Remember the doubt. Remember the definitive statements about what he cannot do. And then watch what he does. GBush called it, the locker room called it, and now the whole country is watching. Shedeur Sanders deserves better, and better is coming. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the media has been fair to Shedeur Sanders? Let's talk about it. I'll see you in the next one.